Welcome to the Boostly podcast. This is the podcast that gives hosts the tools, the tactics, the training, and most of all, the confidence to go out there and get more direct bookings. We do a mini series on this podcast where we introduce you to softwares, people, and all services that you need to know about as a host. Today, we're shining the Boostly spotlight on Smoobu. We're joined today by Nicholas, who is the strategy partnership manager at Smoobu, and we're going to dive into all the things, what that means, and what Smoobu can do to help you get more bookings and more direct bookings, especially. So, welcome along, Nicholas. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Very happy to be here.
So, first question is, what kind of mindset or tactic do you hope the Boostly listeners are going to take away from this podcast?
Well, I hope that you have a great time listening to us, and I would really like you to understand how crucial it is to get direct bookings and to maybe shine the light on some tools that can help you achieve and get more direct bookings. I think it's very important on this age to not be dependent on one or two platforms and to try to diversify your portfolio as much as you can.
Awesome. I'm excited to dive in. Okay, so Nicholas, I think it'd be important if you can introduce yourself and tell us what led you to join Smoobu. And because I know you didn't come from short-term rental sort of background, what has surprised you the most about short-term rental industry in general?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm 35. I'm originally from France, and yeah, my background is mostly in the bar restaurant service industry, and so for me the most impactful and surprising fact about short term rental, first of all, is that hosts are nice people. I think it's a very something that you have to understand, that hosts are usually people that are very open minded. But the thing that was really surprising when I started 5 years ago was still the freshness of this industry. Many people were still using pen and papers. Automation hadn't come their way yet. And Smoobu, being a tool that was and that is still directed to private hosts, allowed them to use professional tools at the fraction of a cost. So the freshness of this industry is still something that amazed me, but still amazes me, and we can really make a difference by helping them automate their business.
Yeah, and they, I think it's so important, isn't it, to automate and have these tools in place. And in general, I think just before we move on, we should just mention, because before we hit record, you mentioned you're in South America at the moment. So what's brought you across there?
Yeah, I am. So I moved to Berlin, Germany when I was 2021. I was fairly young, and to be fair, it was after COVID. When COVID hit Germany, and it was for me such a weird time. I mean, for everyone it was a weird time. And by living in a big city, being stuck in your home feels like a huge dichotomy, right? Like you're paying high rents, high prices to be stuck in your home. It was like just super weird. And then everything opened up, and I thought, oh my god, like time is short, things can change a lot. And my goal was really like to try to escape before the next lockdown, which never happened, fortunately. And I ended up in South America. It was a country I always I mean, a continent, and then in Uruguay it was continent I always wanted to discover. And and after, it was just too hard to move back to Europe. It's just impossible once you've opened the door in your mind to come back.
No, and I think that's an incredible story. And ultimately, there's loads of people listening to this where they go, actually, COVID was a big moment of change for a lot of people. I think that's been, I think in years to come, people will, the children will study it in the history books and stuff like that, because it is such a big period of change, especially in hospitality as well.
Yeah.
So bringing us back around to the to Smoobu and how it helps hosts listening, a lot of different PMSs offer opportunities for hosts to get direct bookings. How does Smoobu deliver on that promise?
Well, I mean, first of all, by like the technical answer would be by connections. I mean, we have you guys as a partner. We even allow for creation of direct booking websites, etc. I mean, the technical answer is pretty much the same all across the board. What I would say for the listeners today is what we do have, and where I think maybe our competition is not as great as we are on that, is we have the educational part. And I think this is really important when people arrive and talk to us. we do tell them, first of all, the importance of direct bookings, because many people will think that this is an impossible task, and the first thing they're going to tell me or tell us it will be, I'm not going to compete with Airbnb. I'm not going to compete with Booking.com or Verbo. I'm not going to be able to be there on the search results. And so many of them will have this kind of attitude, which will basically led them to not even try. So first of all, what we do first is we try to educate them. We worked, I told you, with private hosts, so we can have a big impact on their business, because they're usually very, very keen on listening to advices and so on and so forth. And so we're not afraid to tell them. And we had not that long ago a full-on webinar explaining to hosts. We had like a panel discussion, more like a discussion than a webinar, and we were highlighting the necessity of having a direct booking website, and small tips and tricks to help you climb on the search engines results, and to have word of mouth to the rest, etc. So I think for us the educational part is huge, and really we always put the spotlight on, do not be dependent on one or two platforms. This is ridiculous. It would be, for any business, it would be a terrible decision. So do not make that mistake, and diversify as much as you can your portfolio. And it's for us, it's crucial that hosts understand that message. And of course we have the tools that allow them to do that.
That's very cool, and thank you for mentioning as well that Boostly is partnered, and at the end of the day, encouraging hosts to build their direct bookings. Now, obviously, we'd like it to be a Boostly one, but whoever's listening to this, if you haven't got a direct booking website, then make sure you are using tools like Smoobu, which allows you to have your own direct booking website, because at the end of the day, then you're able to take these direct bookings and to vary your booking channels, which will then increase your chances of success. You know, if you've got all of the big OTAs plus direct, and we're not saying, hey, you can't be on these OTAs, or you must only go direct. It's very much start with what you've got, and just make sure you're visible in all these different places to maximize your success. And then over a period of time, you can start to be more selective and more marketing campaigns to grow your direct bookings, which is what we talk about a lot here on the YouTube channel. But what is one mistake that you see, Nicholas, that hosts make a lot of the time, and they may not realize that they're making these mistakes?
One thing that we do see at Smoobu is that hosts usually do not take enough time to use the software fully. And I think I cannot say like there is one mistake that everybody's doing and it's going to be an actionable for everyone. Obviously not. But many times we see that they're not using the software fully. And most of the time, it's not because they have a substitution, a product substitution. It's just that they do not really care, or they haven't thought about it, or they do not take the time. And I think that's mostly the importance. Is usually we try to tell them, when you set up a channel manager, take your time, because we offer many services. It's an all-in-one solution, but if you're not using it all, it might lose a bit of steam. You might not use it fully. I think we see a lot of people not using dynamic pricing or any kind of revenue management tool, and this is where we usually see the most impact. So if you do, great. If you don't, wake up. It's 2025. All the competition is using it, or most of them will be using them. And we were talking about COVID, right? Before COVID was tourism everywhere, and after COVID there was this weird time where cash flow was a bit of an issue, and then some countries were open, some were not. A lot of money was then spent because people had a lot of cash, but then recession is a bit here. People don't really spend so much on tourism. We saw it with the decline of American tourists in Europe, for instance. For us as a European company, was a huge problem for hosts. So be competitive. And revenue management tools are usually pretty safe in the sense that they pay for themselves. So get a look at them. We offer a lot of solutions in Smoobu. We offer even in-house solutions. So make sure you have this. And then obviously look at your operational cost. Operation costs will kill your business, will kill any business. So look after this. After you've made a direct booking website and you have a revenue management tool, look at your operation cost.
I like that. That's a great answer, and you're absolutely right. There's I now assume most people will have a direct booking tool of some sort, but it's because I've been in the industry a little while. For anybody listening who hasn't checked out a dynamic pricing
Yeah.
tool, definitely great tip there. So, what hidden gem inside Smoobu is something that people love, but some hosts might not be using at the moment?
I think we have a flexible tool, and we have a lot of hacks that people can use. And I think some might realize it, some people might not realize it. But for instance, we have a full placeholder system in Smoobu in place, where you can add up some placeholders to your direct messaging. But you can send these messages to your guest. Obviously, that's the most obvious choice. But you can also do that to set up some reminders for you, some reminders for your
Mhm.
team, etc. And I think people might not look at it because it's not called task and management in a special category. It's just in the communication, in the messaging. But yeah, you can tweak some stuff, and I think people really like that about us. We're a small company still, and so our tool is fairly open and flexible. So that's one of them. And yeah, we also do have an open API. So I think that is something that really sets us apart from the competition, because as a private host, you can also do your own scripting. And I mean, now with AI, it has never been easiest to code something, to ask the machine to do it for you. And
Mhm.
because we offer an open API for our customers, I think a lot of people are taking advantage of it right now, just to draw reports, export the data in a different dashboards, etc., to have access to more data. So this is something that a lot of hosts are doing, and something that I encourage more people to do. ChatGPT is there, like you can really code something very simple, and with an open API, it's amazing what you can do.
That's cool. And like you say, the fact that you could set up reminders. I mean, one reminder that I set up as a host, where it's an internal message, is after somebody's checked in, me and my team get a message just to say, hey, is there any availability where we could give them an extra day or a gap
Ah,
where we could sell it to them at the end? And without that reminder, I mean, I've got to be honest. You'd think like, hey, we'd just naturally check, but we're busy hosts, and having these reminders as a host are fantastic, isn't it? So, great answer there.
we've conducted on that one. I'm sorry to interrupt, but on that one, we've conducted a research,
Mhm.
and what you just said, the ups when it was about upselling, and was the second most upsold item was extra nights. So the
Yeah.
first one was early check-in or late checkout. That is
Mhm.
like the go-to. Like, do upsell this, you will be amazed. And the second one on the list, as reported by a host, was upselling extra nights. So setting up that kind of reminder is exactly what you need to do, for instance. Yes.
That's very cool. So, what are some of the future kind of integrations and things coming along, specifically with Smoobu?
So right now, the biggest one we have, and we are actively promoting it, is the Smoobu dynamic pricing. So we
Mhm.
are super stoked. This is a project that started back in 2023. I was the one initiating it within the company and with our partners, and I'm extremely proud of this. And so now, one of the things you can do is subscribe to an add-on on top of your Smooth subscription, and you will get price recommendation all the time. And this will be synchronized directly to your favorite portals. And this will be, for us, a game changer, we believe, for the host, because right now we want to be the all-in-one platform, and we all aim to do so. But at the end of the day, you end up as a host having two, three, four, maybe five subscription. And so just by having this on top of your Smooth subscription, they start at the same day, they end at the same day. It's a lot of relief. You don't have to deal with connection issue. It's all done in house, etc. So we're super happy, and yeah, we hope it brings a lot of revenues and extra bookings for our hosts.
Very cool, very cool. So for this next question, I'm going to do it so you can choose which direction you want to go in. So can you either tell us about what the people, the top users, the top 1% of users of Smoobu, what are they doing that others aren't? Or what are some of the wow moments that you've seen since you've been in with Smoobu? I'll let you choose which route to go down.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to repeat myself a little bit with dynamic pricing, but this is really something that makes the difference. So the
Mhm,
top 20% of hosts, well, so it's not really the top one, but the top 20, we had a yearly report about that. They're using dynamic pricing. The top 20 is using dynamic pricing. It's like when you're on the top 20, you have 80% chance to use dynamic pricing. So
mhm,
20% don't use it. So if you want to be on the top 20, it's almost ensured you need that kind of tool. And then the second part, they are present on all the OTAs we offer via API.
mhm.
And this is very, very important. They do not rely on just one platform to get all their bookings. And I think that's a lot of people, they sleep on that. And if you're not successful on one platform, it is maybe interesting for you to lower your prices, have a different approach on that platform to try to have it picked up by the algorithm. Because at the end of the day, if a platform thinks you're not worth it, maybe it's even worth starting over. You're not successful on Airbnb. You've created the account in 2020. You have like poor bookings. All right, just kill it. Create new one. Make the
Mhm.
new listing promotions. Airbnb offers like ton of things to get it started and try again. There is no such thing as a successful host on only one platform. And if there are, chances are they could be in very, very much trouble if that platform changes the algorithm, if that platform loses steam at some point, or if their reputation is damaged, whatever could happen. So yeah, use different platforms. It is very, very crucial for your business.
100%. We even say here at Boostly that you're working for that platform. If you're just on that one, you're effectively just working for them because you're trying
Correct.
to, you're giving them commission and everything like that. Whereas when you've got your own business and you're on all these different platforms, they become shop windows to show off your business, which is very cool. So you mentioned like AI earlier on, but is there, and you can go down that route if you wish, but what do you think the future of the hospitality industry in general is going to look like, say, in the next 3 to 5 years?
I think it's impossible to predict at this stage. We're seeing tremendous progress on AI. At Smoobu, we're using AI internally for certain processes, and we're seeing extremely positive results. Even the like when you implement something, you're always like, okay, well, if it does this, it's going to be a success, but it does this times two,
Mhm.
and we don't know if how to call it. So, and when we see that in 6 months ago, that was not possible. What can we achieve in 6 months' time? What can we achieve in 12 months' time, etc.? And so for us, it's really, really difficult to predict what's going to happen, but we definitely know that AI is going to help. At our level, I was mentioning before that we have the open API, so that you can extract basically all the data you have on your Smoobu account, and you can feed that to an AI. You can have AI write your emails if you want. You can have AI receive your email and write them back for you, send it back via API to us. So there is many things you can do. I definitely think that AI is going to be a big thing. And Smoobu's approach was not to jump into AI in 2023 when ChatGPT went out. We took our time. We are on a more skeptical approach at the beginning. Not that we did not believe in it, but because we didn't want to just slap AI on some feature
Mhm.
and just call it a day. Like many did that. Fine, why not? But we're cooking some very interesting features that are going to be AI related. That are going to go a step further. But as of today, I think I think the business is about to change tremendously. I think the way we deal with reviews, the way we deal with communication, the way we deal with description writing, it's all going to change. Like A/B testing is going to be possible in a very simple manner. And also the way we interact with data. I think at this stage, it's really important that people get to understand their own data and that they do their own learning. Um, you can feed that to a machine via our open API and understand your business better.
It's very cool. And I'm excited about this. I'm excited about AI. And I do think personally, I think we're going to be, like the times when website and the internet first came about, when you had the businesses, um, uh, which some didn't go on the internet and some did. And those that did were usually more successful. Obviously, is always exceptions to the rule, but it's a bit like now. So if somebody listening to this isn't considering at least learning about AI or using some of the more commonly used features of or applications out there, ChatGPT and a few of the others, then ultimately then you should be, because this is going to be one of the differentiators in the next few years. And alongside that, I also think that how we keep the human connection, which is what hospitality is all about, as we were talking about before we hit record, it's good to actually meet people and talk to people. So I really think that the hosts, there's going to be a challenge, isn't there, between the automation versus the human touch, and it's going to be an interesting few years.
But on this side, I had the same discussion 5 years ago with the smart locks, and people were like, "I'm never gonna put smart locks. It looks bad. I do a personal check-in, etc." I'm like, yeah, you can do both, right? You can have a smart lock and you can have a personal check-in, just in case, maintenance people, they need to get in the room. You don't have to personally greet them. You don't do proper communication to maintenance people, right? And the same with AI. If you can automate and understand better in less time, then you have more time to communicate to people in person, to have go get a drink. I mean, I'm French, so usually when we do check-in or check-out, it involves some wine somewhere. Well, now with AI, maybe you have a half an hour more to cheer your guest up, and so I think it's very important to get on top of this subject, because as you said, otherwise you might miss tremendously on a big thing.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So I think it's time that we opened up the mic, and if you could just, if somebody's listening to this, they might be in a situation where they're either without a PMS or perhaps with a PMS provider that they're currently looking at switching away from. Can you just cover why they should consider Smoobu, and then where to go to find out more?
Yeah, I mean, if you consider us, great. If you do not, consider any channel manager. You need to automate, you need help. So if it's us, better. But if it's not, that's fine. The importance is that you get out of pen and papers. If you want to find us, it's smoobu.com. So smoobu.com, where you will have all the links in the description. And you can do 14 days free trial. No credit card required. So it's really up to you to give us a go or not. Usually, for you to understand, we are aiming at private hosts. Let's say up to 20 properties. We're not really a tool for big property managers. We do not aim to be one, but we are very successful and effective with private hosts because we have a solution that is tailored towards them. So I think you will have a tremendous time with us, and I really believe that if you use the tool the way we built it, the way we intended it to be used, you're going to be tremendously successful. And we have a lot of resources. We work close with partners like Booking.com or Airbnb. We put a lot of resources that will help you understand better why your listing is maybe not working well on Airbnb or Booking.com, and give you like actionables to make it happen. I think it's part of being in a community, like you're using a software, and it's the same with Boostly. You get part of a community as well. You get people you can talk to, you get people that you can relate with, and I think all in all, this helps you being a better host.
100%. And thank you so much for covering on the Boostly podcast today, and talking about all things Smoobu, but also we've had some great chats about the future of the industry, different techs, the things that people aren't doing and should be doing, or things that some people are doing and other people should follow. So I really appreciate you coming on here. And for anybody who is listening to this on the audio, when it's safe to do so, as long as you're not driving, check out the show notes and you can go and check out Smoobu, and that free trial is there if you're considering trying out a PMS or switching PMS. Go and check out Smoobu. So to end then, Nicholas, what's one belief or mantra that's guided your work with Smoobu, or Smoobu's work with hosts?
So I think we need to, I mean, the one thing is always the same as when you work in restaurants, right? You need to listen. And I think that's what we do best, is to listen to people and try to then extract the essence of the message that hosts are telling us. Because what we see is that hosts, they love their clients and they want to do better. But it's a business that's got harder than in the past. I mentioned before COVID, was kind of blooming. Like, you just need to buy an apartment, go take a credit. Banks were like, yeah, take money, go buy another one, put it online, bookings will come, and all that. And I think the business got a little bit harder to get into. So we listen, host, we build the products that they want. And I think you always have to be thinking about the guest. At the end of the day, we're working for the guest. And so when a host have a problem, sometimes it's because they want to solve it's always because they want to solve a guest problem, but they don't know how to articulate the problem itself. So they will try to solve the consequences, but not the cause, right? And that happens a lot of business in a lot of areas. So our job is always to decrypt that message. So whenever I'm talking to hosts, I'm always thinking about the guest. I'm always thinking about the guest experience at the end of the day, because whatever you do, wherever you put yourself in the chain, that could be the channel manager, that could be Airbnb, that could be the host, we all want the guest to come back. We all want that. And so at the end of the day, always try to go back to the roots. Will the guest enjoy his experience and come back? And if you solve that issue, kind of, then you'll have a successful business.
That's great advice. And thank you again, Nicholas, for coming on here. This has been fun. We hope to see you again on the Boostly podcast, maybe come back in the future and talk us through all the new things with Smoobu. And thank you too for listening to this on the Boostly podcast or watching on the Boostly YouTube channel. If you haven't already and you want to go and get more direct bookings, you can check out Mark Simpson's best-selling book called The Book Direct Playbook. It is a bestseller on Amazon. This is cheap as we're allowed to make it. You can just Google that and go and find that, and that'll tell you how to get more direct bookings. And if you enjoy listening to Smoobu and to our guests on these shows, please do consider subscribing to the podcast, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye for now.
Having a blast, gonna get it on the Boostly podcast. Boostly like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely.